All right. Hello and welcome to Podcast Revelation with the EuroBros featuring
Matthew Wilson.
and Balint Kid. That was a really long pause.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I wasn't focusing. I was focusing of the discussion we were gonna have.
Okay, well, let's not start with that. First, we're going to talk about our book we're reading called
Gone with the Wind.
No Promises in the Wind.
Fuck.
Not even remotely close. Anyways.
Shows you how much I paid attention, right?
No
Yeah.
promises. Very good book. I would recommend it to anyone.
Indeed. And the beginning's a bit long, I would say.
Is it?
Yeah. Because it takes a long time for them to introduce a bit the characters and what their lives are like. But once it gets started, once it gets to like that mom and
it was literally
dad argument,
that was by the end of chapter 2 that was already happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
Anyways, it's a really good book, amazingly written by
Irene Hunt.
Irene Hunt. Yes, takes place during the Great Depression, which we will have a podcast about the Great Depression.
Future
That's
podcast.
an incredibly huge topic.
Oh yeah.
It's very interesting.
I mean, there are many Great Depressions all over the world.
Well, no, I'm talking about the
including one
American Great Depression
in Yugoslavia.
Okay, all right. That's
our topic.
subject.
That's our topic.
Today we will be talking about Tito's reign in Yugoslavia and whether. Okay, we're going to try to answer a question. So we're going to try to answer the question whether Tito was a fit leader for Yugoslavia and whether the things that he did were good or bad. But that's that's a little bit too vague.
Whether Yugoslavia really improved that much during those years.
During those years, yes. And I will be trying to defend Tito, and Matthew's the opposition.
I'll be the opposition to this.
Yes. Okay, so we'll just start with a brief history of Yugoslavia. It's very interesting. There's so many different ethnicities and nationalities that came together in this period.
And it's just like a point on the land, you know, like it's between Europe and the Middle East. So it's always been that point of tension. Right? Two kind of forces are pulling against it. And even like the Eastern Bloc, like later on after World War II, you've got the Eastern Bloc and Western Bloc pulling for the control over
absolutely, and the Ottoman Empire right by their side. I mean, it's also a very good strategic point for
definitely, because you've got access not only to like the Black Sea, but you've got access to the Mediterranean Sea, mountains.
Exactly.
I mean,
huge.
You can
it's a really great place to have occupied. So it began as a kingdom, as far as I know.
It did.
In 1918, after World War I.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. So do you know how that happened or why that came together?
The splitting. Just the splitting. Like before, it was the Austro-Hungarian Empire, right?
Yes.
And it was just the Austro-Hungarian Empire split, and it became you have Hungary that sprung up, and you've got a couple others, including Yugoslavia.
Yes.
That sprung up.
What I read is that Yugoslavia was already a big idea even before like 60, 70 years before. It was already an idea to create this Southern Slav state because they wanted power.
United.
And it was really the Serbs' idea, I would say.
Well, yeah, look at the coat of arms already.
I mean, obviously, right?
You've got the Serbian coat of arms there.
On the Yugoslavian.
On the Yugoslavian coat of arms.
Yeah. So it began as a kingdom in 1918. It was a kingdom through 1941, and the reason, and then the kingdom fell apart.
Because of World War II.
Because of World War
Nazi
II.
invasion of it.
Nazi invasion came in. Axis powers took over. At that point, they put the Ustašes in power, the Nazis, in 1945, right?
They put whoever favored the Nazis. It wasn't especially the Ustašes.
Okay, but they were a big part of the Croatian.
I guess.
Not
as big as it's mentioned. Because the Nazis still wanted control over that area. They weren't just going to put some foreigner.
Well, obviously, yes, obviously, but the Ustašes they're famous for their genocide and their extremely ruthless conditions.
Members murdered hundreds of thousands of Serbs, Jews, and Roma as well.
Yeah.
Political dissidents in Yugoslavia during World War II.
They killed so many people. I think it's about like 1/2 to 2.5 million people.
That seemed right.
And So they were in power, and then came the two main oppositions,
which was Mihailović and Tito.
Whereas Mihailović with the Chetniks and Tito with the Partisans. And so that's where our debate really begins right here, because all the way up to here we totally agree that Yugoslavia was a good idea in the beginning as a kingdom to unite those Slavs. It was a really good idea. But here's where we part, because Matthew thinks that it's better. It would have been better if Mihailović and the Chetniks.
And you really can't prove that. But what I'm really saying is that Tito was not the best option.
That's what we're trying to debate. And I think that let's just get into it. Okay, so oppositions, the Axis powers took over. Chetniks and Partisans were both trying to fight back. And
so they were allied at first. They were allied
at first. Yes.
When they started dividing was when they saw that the end of the war was close. When the American forces started bombarding Yugoslav oil fields, and that's when they realized, okay, the Nazis are gonna go soon. Now, who takes power?
Now, a big thing that I know, or maybe it's not true, but what I read, I think at BBC.org, is that Tito was able to gain the Allied forces' recognition.
He did not gain the Allied force. He gained the British support.
Okay.
And the Americans, after World War II, had a very neutral stance on what happened in Europe. They're kind of like, we won the war, now we're out, right?
Yeah.
But now the British and the French, which both supported Tito, were like, yeah, okay, now we need Western and Eastern Bloc, okay? So who's going to control it? What's going to happen with this area? Who has power over it? They were really concerned over what was going on in there.
Yeah.
Because even though they had beaten the Nazis, now what they were scared of was the Soviet Union, right?
Yes, they were.
And they wanted somebody that could defend.
Yes.
And so this is where we can't really prove who was right and who was wrong, because you could say that the British were strong supporters of Tito. You could say that.
But they were also supporters of the Chetniks.
But it goes back, their favoritism goes back not only because Tito had more patriotic views and Yugoslavia, right?
Yeah.
And stronger, right? He defended his lands. He killed a lot of Nazis, right? So they kind of favored him not only for that, but also the OSS, which was the British spy service, had a lot of communists in it.
Okay.
It had
I did not know that.
a lot of communists in it, and they're actually nicknamed the communist rats, because they would go over to non-communist held countries and they'd give back false information about the non-communist people, right?
Okay.
And that's kind of where, so the president can't do anything about it, right? Or the prime minister can't do anything about it. He can't be like, oh, yeah, no, that's not right? Because he's never been on the field. But those spies have been out in the field, so he can trust only them. And so that's when it gets, okay, so the communists seem like they're doing better, right? So that's where the basic support for Tito arrived.
That's where it began. And it was a lot about him wanting to bring together the people. A lot of people really enjoyed that idea. Everyone loved just the idea of one big nation where everyone's happy. And in the beginning, I think it was like that. Well, okay, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So what happened? Partisans got Allied support, and they drove out the Nazis, along with the Chetniks, but I think that it was mostly the Partisans that were driving.
Well, the reason for that is the Nazis, right?
Yeah.
The Nazis had this retaliation policy, which was anytime that one Nazi was killed, a certain number of their population was killed in retaliation for this. So the Chetniks' approach to this was, don't kill the Nazis, right? Kill the supplies. And they can't trace it back to who did it. So they would mine the fields, right? But that takes time. The Partisans would just attack any Nazis they'd see. But as soon as the Nazis knew about this, right, they retaliated against partisan people.
Inside of their territory. Okay.
So you have differing views on this.
So you have differing and you can't prove it.
You can't prove it.
It's really hard to prove it. These are just different viewpoints. Okay, so eventually Nazis got driven out. And meanwhile, Chetnik's idea of a Yugoslavia was more of a centralized according to my understanding, it was more of a centralized Serbian state, around which there was the Kingdom of Serbia, which would have been Yugoslavia, in quotation marks. So, and I know that the Serbians also in that time period they went into negotiations with the Germans. They tried negotiating, and they also had some ethnic cleansing.
You've got to realize that when you have a much bigger,
obviously,
you've got a much bigger power. Look at what Pétain did in France, right? He was like, we can't defend this. More people are gonna get killed if we battle than if we just.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that they engaged in ethnic cleansing, the Serbians.
But it wasn't their will to ethnic cleanse. It wasn't there. During World War II, they ethnic cleansed because they were forced to.
By
the Nazis, right? Just like look in France, right? There was this, or let's go back to World War I, right? You had Alsace-Lorraine was part of Germany, right? And so they took people from Alsace-Lorraine into the army to commit crimes against the French, right? But it was never the Alsacians and the Lorraines' idea to like kill French people, right? They were forced to. They didn't have another choice.
So I understand that. However, well, the main reason this is important is because that's what Mihailović was committed of. I mean, sorry, not committed. He was convicted of.
And that trial was really.
Well, it was a communist trial.
It was dubious. It was a
communist trial
because you've got that the Americans wanted to join in the trial because over I can't remember how it was 2,000 5,000 American bomber squadrons had been saved by the Chetniks.
I read that.
And they wanted the bomber squadrons wanted to represent
obviously
Mihailović in the trial to say like, yo, he never did this. Like we were right next to him this whole time, right? But Tito is it's not gonna happen.
Yes, but to say that he did not that Mihailović did not engage in ethnic cleansing would be false because he did. He definitely did. There are records of him saying that. Or okay, nowhere in record. I can give you this. Nowhere in records does it say that he specifically ordered people to engage in ethnic cleansing. However, he never disapproved of it. He always went along with it, which you explained that the reason he did that is because he did not want to mess with the Nazis.
But also, he's trying at the end of the war. He's trying to get popularity more than anything.
Well,
he realizes the partisans have, growing and growing and growing and growing. They have got money, popularity, people.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's just trying to grow popularity. So if he tells his own fighters, his loyal fighters, to stop ethnic cleansing, he's losing popularity. Right now he's not focusing on lives. He's focusing on, am I going to get power after the war?
Yeah. Well, I understand, but does that give you a reason?
It doesn't give you a reason. Yeah. But Tito on the same side was doing the exact same thing. So negative and a negative, they can't. Okay. They cancel each other out.
Well, you also have to look at first of all, I would just think that in the Communist Party you wouldn't engage in ethnic cleansing. He did not specifically cleanse ethnicities out of Yugoslavia. What he did is he killed opposition. He killed anyone that was against communism, really. Which I understand how cruel that is, and I understand how horrible that is. And it was probably I'd say 500,000 people were killed.
2 million people according to Hawaii.
No. Okay, I don't believe in those.
For me, that sounds even like minimizing it.
Okay, let's look at them. Show me those Hawaiian records because there's a section that says Tito's accounted deaths. But that's only 20,000.
You're talking about this chart.
Okay, all right. Look at the Hawaii. Okay.
This is not the chart. This is the statistics of actual. This is Tito's deaths. This is Tito's democide. Democide in Yugoslavia. Statistics of democide.
Well, I understand. I'm just saying.
Democide the definition is it's carried out by the government.
Okay.
So let's look.
It's Hawaii.edu.
It's a university.
Okay.
It's better than a .com site, right? It's a .edu.
No, I know it is.
And look at the Hawaiians are neutral to this.
I just don't know.
Who are they gonna prefer?
I just don't know how they could know for sure. But okay, let's go on.
But they're gonna be neutral about this because they're gonna have to choose a royalist or a communist. They hate both equally.
Okay. Yes. Well.
So the Croatians, 655,000 people, and the majority of those were Serbs against Croatians and Croatians against Serbs. But that's not all. Another 500,000 people called collaborators or anti-communists were killed, right? And then plus a lot more dead in civil wars, 5,000 Yugoslavs dead, and military. Those all add up to, as mentioned later on, consolidating all these estimates gives us, in quotations, consolidating all these estimates gives us a tentative range of 1,600,000 to 2 million people total dead. And this is just, and that's just under Tito's rule. And that's just 1952 to 1950. 50 to 52. 1950 to 1952.
Okay.
So that's 2 years, and already 2 million people were killed. Can you counter that, Balint?
Let's start with this. Mm-hmm. So, he killed Mihailović. He didn't really kill him. I mean, he did commit war crimes, Mihailović. And so I think
it was not a fair trial.
I think he was rightfully killed, even though it was not a fair trial.
Well, Tito could have been killed just as rightfully.
Well, absolutely, yes, that's all I'm saying.
But then you're not making sense. Then
what
if you're saying Mihailović was rightfully killed, why wasn't Tito killed the same way?
Because he was in power.
You see, and that shouldn't happen. There should be fair trials. See, fair trials probably amounted in lots of deaths.
Fair trials don't. It wouldn't have mattered if he had a fair trial. He would have died anyway.
No. The Americans would have come in this. I told you already about the American bombers.
He's not getting killed for committing war crimes?
If this was a fair trial, they would have realized that, okay, wait, he's still saved during war times.
500 bombers instead of what? 60,000 Muslims and
5,000 bombers. 5,000.
Instead of 60, 70,000
Why wasn't Tito trialed then?
Tito should have been.
But then Tito should have been trialed. But he also
thousands of people.
But he also killed hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah, Nazis in that time. We're just looking at that time. We're looking at that period of time.
But he killed any opposition members. He killed Chetniks
Not at that time.
Yes, he did. He killed Chetniks. Yes, he did.
At that time, he was solely focused on Nazis. He was trying to drive out.
And anybody that looked like they would be mean to him.
No, this is look, they were my hat. Okay,
you looking kind of cute. No. But seriously, he was anti-Chetnik, anti-Nazi. Chetniks including.
He was anti-fascist.
Chetniks including.
Okay, well, but he did drive out the Nazis out of Yugoslavia. He did unite
the
all
Americans,
those countries.
The Americans and
he
didn't do jack shit to get them. No, he didn't.
Yes, he absolutely.
No, he didn't.
Are you even, okay,
no, he didn't.
Now you're kidding me.
No, he didn't.
He got the Allied forces on the side.
He couldn't have done. No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
He couldn't have done anything without. He couldn't have done anything without American support. The American support was crucial, and who did the Americans support again? The Chetniks.
Okay, let's see.
He couldn't do anything without the American support. Nazis. How many Z's are you gonna put in Nazi, bro? Nazi.
Who drove out the Germans?
It wasn't even. They weren't even driven out, right? They retreated when they heard that the Soviets were advancing towards Germany. Hitler pulled out troops from the Balkans to
with the retreating Nazi forces. So with the retreating Nazis, the ethnic Germans fled out of Yugoslavia, rightfully so.
With retreating Nazi forces, they weren't retreating because of was Tito.
But
he was.
It says Yugoslav partisans extracted revenge
for the wartime atrocities in Nazi Germany after the war. This was after the liberation. Okay. The Soviets carried out the whole thing, and Americans carried out taking out the resources. They didn't do anything. The partisans had a very minor role in expulsing the Germans. Very minor. That's her. Something. All right, just a little recap. Balint was having troubles finding his sources. No,
I'm trying to find.
But he was unable.
Drove out.
He was unable because he's wrong. Look at this. Now look.
Who drove out?
Soviet invasion of What is that? Europe, 1945.
So then why wouldn't they take over Yugoslavia?
Now wait. Now look at this. Let's look at this. Let's look at this map out. Let's take a look at this map. This is what the Soviet Union did. You see? They sent 2 different operations.
Okay.
But this one stopped after Romania. But this one continued all the way into the German Republic, right? Do you know what these troops down here were doing? Retreating, because the Soviets were above them. So they had to retreat now. And Hitler actually ordered them to come back so that they could defend Berlin. He's not going to be like, what are you doing in the Balkans over there? Oh, I'm sorry, Herr Führer. We're having fun with the partisans down here, right? He's not going to be like, oh, continue having fun. I'm going to just go, like, shoot a Soviet outside my bunker, right? No, he's going to be like, come back to my bunker, please. I need help. Okay. Like, the Balkans, at this point, really don't matter. What I'm worried about is my personal safety. In quotations, Hitler. Probably. Probably what Hitler said.
So then why didn't they just take over Yugoslavia after that?
Because they knew that Tito was supported by the British. So they were like, communism's already established there. We're good. We're good. We don't even have to negotiate. Because after the war, they had to negotiate with the British, like what part of Germany they took, what part of Poland they took.
Yes.
The Eastern Bloc. They had to negotiate the whole Eastern Bloc. But Yugoslavia, they were like, we don't even have to negotiate. There's already a communist leader there. Okay. So they're just kind of like... Now, the troubles began when Tito was kind of like, well, we could try and like decentralize the economy. But that's a different story.
Yeah, well, okay. So, but can you agree that Tito did stop Italians from invading Slovenia?
The Italians didn't want Slovenia.
Of course they wanted
Slovenia.
They didn't. They wanted. Okay, not Slovenia.
No, they
Let's
didn't.
just say not
No,
Slovenia.
they didn't.
Okay, not Slovenia.
They wanted
the whole entire west portion of the Balkans.
Let's take a look at the map again. Italian possessions.
Of course, they never came under possession.
Balint.
They never came under possession.
Balint. Hey, these are my pictures, okay?
That was perfect.
Map. I want a map.
Is that on a map?
No, that's not a map. Okay, well, I guess that's the map then. Okay, no, look. They didn't care about down there. They didn't give a fuck, actually. They wanted...
Are you kidding me? What is that? What is that? What is that?
That was already Italian. They just wanted this border here, Balint. They didn't want the rest of Yugoslavia.
That's what I'm saying. And that you know what that is right there. You know what that is?
Those are
it's Slovenia.
This is Slovenia, Balint. That is the western side of Slovenia. They wanted
Slovenia.
But they didn't want all of Slovenia. They couldn't care less about the Slovenes.
You know what's that?
They wanted.
See that? That's Croatia.
They wanted
Croatia.
Where the ethnic Italians were, or where they believed the ethnic Italians were.
Where they believed? Oh my gosh, you're right.
But they couldn't care less about the Slovenes, which they knew were there. They couldn't care less about the Croats. They couldn't care less about the Muslims.
Tito do? It doesn't matter if they didn't care because Tito drove them out.
But they drove them out of lands that they've been occupying for years. What Roman Empire?
What
already?
Was?
Well, no.
Talking about?
And then you have the Habsburgs let the kingdom of. It wasn't Sardinia. It wasn't Sicily. It was the kingdom of. I can't remember. We're just gonna call it the kingdom of Italy. We're gonna call it the kingdom of Italy, right? Okay. This possessions here, right? And they had all of this. They had all of Dalmatia over here.
All right.
All of it.
Yes.
So they basically gave up possession, but they've had that land for centuries. They've had
the Croat land.
Yes, they've had that land for centuries.
The western portion of Yugoslavia.
Yes, they have. They've had that land for centuries.
Okay, what kingdom was it? We have to look up what kingdom episode it was so we can look at the possessions of the maps. But don't tell me that Tito did not drive them out, because he did.
Because he wanted territory.
Well, obviously he wanted territory. He wanted territory for Yugoslavia. It's not just for himself.
It is the kingdom of Italy.
Really?
Yeah. Look. See? It's been part of the kingdom of Italy. Balint. The majority.
Where was it?
The majority of the images.
Before this. Okay, let's just look at a different map just to.
You're looking at the Italian front. That's Libya, bro. That's Libya.
I know.
Look down. Scroll down.
Let's look at some.
No.
Let's look at the top searches. Let's look at the top searches.
He is dissuading Italy. Well, you're just proving yourself wrong and wrong again. This isn't even a correct map, my man.
It's not even a correct map.
It's not even a correct map. It's a false map. But you're just proving yourself wrong.
Where am I proving myself wrong?
Because Italy has held that for years. It has held that area for years. You can all you want.
No, I'm telling you.
Yeah, you're sick of it because
Tito because he absolutely helped drive out the Axis powers.
Look at that. Look at where. Oh, for fuck's sakes.
Don't tell me he did not help drive out the Axis powers more than the Chetniks.
More than the Chetniks, yeah, but not as.
So then, why would the Chetniks take power? Why should they take power?
They didn't play.
Then who should take power?
They didn't play a major role. They did not play a major role.
Then who should take power?
The Chetniks.
What for doing nothing?
They did something. They cut off the supply line. No. It's like you're in theater. You're in theater, right? You're in theater, right? You're in theater, right? Right. The actors are always like, William Clyburn did great in Fiddler on the Roof, but you're never gonna talk about that tech guy that did the amazing light thing. Well, it's the same with the Chetniks. The Partisans did the dirty work. They did all the like killing. So they're like, oh yeah, they're killing a bunch of people, while the Chetniks are over there like killing the supply line. So the Germans can't do shit after.
The Partisans did way more.
They did way more, but in retaliations they got way more.
Okay, but did Tito do the best for Yugoslavia?
No, because he killed more people than he killed Nazis. For every 20 Nazis
he
killed.
He didn't kill those people.
But he ordered it. For every 20 Nazis killed in a village, they probably killed hundreds of Yugoslavians.
But you're just pulling numbers out. You can't. There's nothing.
Imagine. Okay. Imagine I'm Hitler.
Hitler. I'm Hitler. Sure, you're Hitler.
I'm Hitler.
At this point, I'm just joking. Okay, go on. Go on.
I'm Hitler. You kill my guy. 20 of my guys. What am I gonna do? Okay, well let's even it out, right? I'm gonna kill 20 of your guys. So you can do it again, but I'll kill 20 of your guys, right? Right? It doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm just gonna equal it out. No, it doesn't work like that. You kill 20 of my guys. You kill 20 of my guys. I'm gonna kill more of yours.
Are you okay? Listen, you are okay. Tito took care of the Axis powers with the Soviets and Americans on their sides. They drove them out. Who drove them out?
The Soviets.
And Tito.
No, Tito didn't do anything.
Tito absolutely did.
Tito didn't do anything,
He absolutely did.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Absolutely did.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't. We can go, no, he didn't. Yes, he did all you want.
There were several German invasions into Yugoslavia. And throughout all of those, he retreated and retreated and retreated.
But the retaliations is the problem. He killed, but got way many
retaliations.
He got way many more people killed than he was killing. The Chetniks were actually doing something without getting retaliation.
Because they were trying to favor the Germans.
No, they weren't.
Why would they
be blowing up their supply lines if they were trying to favor the Germans?
Do you realize Mihailović was making negotiations with the Germans at that time?
What, you're trying to save your country? What else would you do? You have a fucking huge ass developed army coming towards you. What are you gonna do? Stand and fight with your 100,000 men against a fucking 5 million strong army? No, you're gonna try and negotiate. Okay, wait. You take this half, you take that half.
And then we'll just take some ethnic cleansing. For you. We'll do it for you. That's what they did. They negotiated. Okay, you know what? I'll allow some ethnic cleansing if you spare us. That's what he did.
No, he really didn't.
At least Tito took his balls and just fought back.
But the retaliation was the problem. The retaliation back was too bad.
Look,
he was killing.
Tito.
He was killing less people.
Indirectly killing.
He was killing less people than were being killed.
But I'm not even looking at the killings. I'm saying he defended his portion. He tried to defend his people. Not just Croatians. Not just not just where he was from. He really did try to connect his people.
Where did he hide out again, Balint? If you just want to whisper it into the mic.
Where did he hide out?
Where did Tito hide during World War II?
Where did he hide?
I don't know. Wait, let me get my evidence. I have my evidence in my backpack. So just 1 second. What'd you say again? He was Croat, right?
Yes, he was Croat.
Gee. It would be an awful coincidence if he hid out in Croatia, right?
What book is that?
Whoa.
Okay, no,
you judging my books, bro?
I'm not judging your books.
Let's go to page 27. I know I marked it, but I can't remember what page. Because I marked so many evidence pages. Because
there's just so much evidence.
So much evidence, just Balint can't handle it. I read this whole book and I remember.
I'll bring a light.
Your evidence? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the time you're finished finding your evidence, we'll all be dead. By the time you're finished finding your evidence, I'll have written a whole book about how you're wrong.
Oh, it's on my other computer.
Oh, yeah.
Should I get it?
Sure, on your other computer. One second. Can I look up something? Because I can't. I know it's in
I
there.
know it's in here.
Tito, he hid in the mountains of... where did Tito Puente live? Where did Tito hide? Hide behind their dead horses. There you go.
Yeah, that's it.
They ethnic cleanse the horses. I'm just gonna type in where he is.
Okay, while he's talking about that, I'm just gonna talk about the economy.
Tito, stop.
Which in the 50s and 60s, it was, and even in the 70s, even though it was built on Western loans, it was very, very stable. Everyone had a job. Most people were pretty happy. And I can assure you this because I've been there.
Okay, that's not at all biased, right?
Why is that biased?
If you've been there.
If I've been there and I talk to the people, oh, how is that biased? I just got their opinions.
I'm sure.
And everyone wanted.
I read it that
and a lot
Tito
of people and a lot of people want.
One sec. I wasn't even listening to what the argument was. Okay, go ahead. Restate your thesis point.
And in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, the economy of Yugoslavia was stabilized because of Tito. Everyone had jobs. Almost everywhere, everyone was fed. So it was a communist state. Not capitalism, but it was.
You know what's better than the CIA? Nothing's better than the CIA.
Okay, so what are you gonna tell us?
Economy in Yugoslavia, right? Yeah, that's
You're gonna talk about the 80s, and I already know what's gonna happen.
I'm not even talking about the 80s.
Okay,
let's go. So this is a CIA release document released in November 1956. So Tito ruling.
Okay.
Of course, nothing of this sort would have happened under the Chetniks.
Yeah, of course, under the Chetniks, who would have created a nationalist Serbia, an ethnic
impact of the current economic crisis on the stability of the Tito regime.
Economic crisis.
This seems interesting. So yeah, Tito regime had attained a degree of political and economic stability that appeared adequate. So yeah,
Okay,
you're right on that.
Right
appeared.
on that.
But then you go down to the extensive drought of the summer of 1950 materially reduced agricultural production and contributed to an economic crisis that threatened the stability of Tito.
Okay.
Substantial outside aid is essential to meet the basic requirements of the Yugoslav people until the crisis is past. The USSR benefited from this. The USSR will spare no effort to exploit this crisis by increasing the efforts of its agents in the related fields of espionage.
Okay.
Not only.
That's not anything crazy for a post-war country.
The current Yugoslav economic crisis has provided an opportunity for the U.S. to seek further gains in exploiting the Yugoslav-Soviet break. Basically, their economy was shit.
Wait, where's this? How is that?
This document is basically, it's all about what Tito did wrong and how the Americans benefited off of it. As of mid-50, had made a slow recovery from the effects of World War II.
Well, that's exactly what happened. Of course, after a war, you're going to have a weakened economy.
I don't know. America seemed to have recovered from that fine.
But that's because
Britain seemed to have recovered from that fine.
You know why? Because
France
they were
seemed
allied,
to have recovered from that
because
fine.
they were allied forces.
All right, then let's think of an axis. Germany seemed to have recovered from.
Are you kidding me? Germany
Western
recovered
Germany,
fine.
Western Germany, yes.
In those next 10 years, that was probably some of the worst.
Yeah, in the eastern side of Germany, but that's because the Soviets were in charge. Western time of Germany.
That's because they
Western time of
received
Germany
aid from France.
Not even.
A lot
not
of
even.
it was
It was its own country. It was its own country. It was called Western Germany. It was its own country. Yeah, that's how mad I am. You see that big thing? That's how mad I am. Because you are preventing me from expressing my opinion.
Okay, no, I'm not. I'm not at all. You can say whatever you want.
By exploiting false claims.
You can say whatever you want. What are you doing?
You have to go to Google. Oh, wait,
it's fine. No, don't go to Google. No. It's fine. You have the site right there.
Shh. Look.
Okay.
How about you speak of more false claims for the people?
False claims.
What'd you look up again?
Western Germany recovery after World War II.
Why is it called the so-called miracle?
Okay, go on.
All right, so Balint, the so-called miracle.
Okay,
That rings a big bell to me. Why would it be called a miracle if it didn't recover? Big bells are ringing because Balint's mad and he's thinking. He's trying to fall. He's gonna play on the words now. We all know Balint by this. He's gonna play on the words of what it says.
He's gonna say anything about Western Germany.
Doesn't say anything about Western Germany because the whole thing is about Western Germany. Balint's gonna try to play with the words. Let's look.
No.
Yeah. Look. He's looking for the exact words he wants. He's not gonna find them. Control find. There you go. Playing with the word. Yeah, Western Germany. Oh, monetary reform in Western Germany. Yeah, but it was also paying 1 billion. So basically receiving it and sending it back out.
Are you okay? Yeah, because that's how the Marshall Plan works.
That doesn't mean anything.
You just put in money and then you just send it right back.
Well, yeah, because they're sending
Nobody
it
does
back.
that.
They're
No.
sending it restitution payments. What do you think? They're keeping it to themselves as restitution to my broken heart. No.
Do you see that? They were receiving aid. Of course, they recovered just fine. Yugoslavia also received aid. That's how they were able to come out of. That's how they were able to recover from the war.
So what's your point?
My point
is that Tito didn't do jack shit. That the aid did.
Are you kidding?
As soon as they cut the aid from Yugoslavia, look at the crisis.
So then, what would have
economic crisis? They cut the aid in 1949.
It was
when did
not.
the economic crisis occur? 1956.
It was not even an
Production in the three principal segments of the economy, agriculture, forestry, and non-ferrous metals, was below pre-war levels. Production in most lines was continuing to lower, and the transportation system was insufficient to support more than twice the pre-war volume of traffic. Magnitude of the current economic crisis. If that's not...
Okay, look.
Not... Balint. What's more official than a CIA?
Okay, let's look at something else. Let's look at something... Okay, I'll look at...
What were you trying to show me?
Look.
What were you trying to show me?
Look, EDU, okay?
Go ahead.
Let's see. Oh, that's fucking...
15%!
Wait, that's 85. That's after Tito's death, you idiot. Read.
When did Tito die?
At 82, I think. You can fact check that if you want to.
Yeah,
Pretty sure it's 82. You definitely... Oh, maybe 88, but I think it's 82.
Yeah.
Okay. This does not say enough. It's just a book. I have to go back.
You're just digging deeper into the whole Balint, and I think we all see what...
No, I don't think we see this at all. What I think is that Tito
we obviously
created a communist...
We're obviously never going to come to an end. I mean, we've been arguing about this since, what, Tuesday? Yeah,
but obviously...
Tuesday, yeah.
So
I think we should end this argument.
We're going... wait, just hold up.
Let this be your last fact, and then we'll move to the next topic, and let the people decide on who was better on arguing. It's the last piece of evidence for both of us. Better be a good one if you want to make a good mark on the people.
I know you don't approve of .org websites.
No, I'm fine with them.
What is it?
How religion might affect your porn preferences. I'm Christian, so I'm going to look up non-porn.
Was that my phone?
Yeah, my phone doesn't go. Only a communist phone does that. Having difficulties?
I have been defeated.
We need to keep that in. Have you really?
I have.
Have you really?
This proves it.
Have you really been defeated?
Yes, the economy, yeah. I will still stand by my point that Tito saved lives.
That's the end.
I will still stand by my point that Tito saved lives in Yugoslavia.
That took a good 4 days of arguing.
And that his ways did improve the lives of many people. However, in the long term, it says that everything was built on debt, even more than the ones of Western Germany.
When you edit this, can you put I have been defeated another time again? I just want to hear that I have been defeated.
I have been defeated.
That's from Balint. That's like squeezing a gem out of a rock. Whoa. It took some time. Whoa.
Okay. Yeah. But I will not agree. I will not agree that the Chetniks would have been a better.
Can we keep like a scoreboard of arguments won?
Arguments won. Okay.
Baguette Boy won.
But I will not agree that the Chetniks would have done a better job. I think it would have been just as bad.
You can't.
Well, you can't know.
You can't disprove that.
Saying. Oh, you can't disprove that, but you can't prove it either. Right. So. Yeah.
So conclusion to that. Tito argument was Matthew won.
Oh, however, I do want to know what the people think about this.
I think. Do you want us to phone for evidence?
No, it's okay. We don't have to phone because. But I just want.
In the comments.
In the comments, yeah. Exactly.
In the comments below.
In the comments below. Let us know what you think about this. If anyone is a Tito expert, please help me.
From the very few people I've spoken to, not many are like.
Not many.
Tito, they're usually like. Tito. It doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah. Wow.
4 days.
That took 4 days.
4 days to squeeze it out.
And this document, the one I was looking for to prove me wrong.
Prove you wrong. All right.
It shows right here. This was really that got me. I was like national debt. Okay, that's not nice.
Even I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Damn, that is a lot.
And look at this. No, that's not even. So okay, I was like, okay, whatever. But a lot of countries are debt torn.
Debt torn after war.
But then I looked at the GDP, and even Germany. Even Germany.
I told you.
Absolutely rose out of. It was fine. I mean, it wasn't fine, but it was.
But the reason for that is, communism is centered around everybody's equal. So
but, however, I definitely think that the lives of those people were improved somewhat. Yugoslavia.
The poorer people, yeah.
Yes. Well, obviously, it's a communist
lower class
state.
But
was it good? Probably not. Maybe, but if it was fragmented, I don't know. Maybe it would have been even worse. It's hard to say. It's hard to say.
You can't.
Yeah. But I mean, now looking at like Macedonia and all those countries that
Kosovo, Serbia.
Yeah, you don't want to really be there. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's because of Yugoslavia. Maybe that's because they're just Balkan countries.
Most likely Balkan countries.
Wow, Matthew's really happy right now. Having defeated
I have never heard Balint say, "I have been defeated." In the how long have I known you? 2 years? 1 year?
2 years.
In the 2 years I've known him, not one argument I've heard him say, "I have been defeated."
Yeah, and we've had a couple.
We
had the one about the French non-renewable energy. Yeah.
That's for next episode.
That's for not next. Next episode is going to be the Communist Manifesto. Which we are very, very reluctant to do a podcast on that.
Yeah, because I think
we don't want to be perceived as communists because we are not. We are. Communism has never worked, and it probably will never work.
Chinese communism. The reason it worked.
Little snippet.
Okay, the reason it worked is decentralization. That's all.
That's all you're gonna say?
That's all I'm
gonna say. I like that.
Decentralization.
Because this is something we actually agree on.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for listening. Let us know if you have any recommendations on what you want us to do for a podcast. It doesn't have to be history related necessarily, but we just really want to spread some awareness through people.
Definitely, awareness is our main goal.
Awareness.
Because a lot of people I spoke to at school were like, Tito, no idea.
Yeah, who's Tito? That's just what we're trying to do. So people have some basic general knowledge that every human, I think, should have some knowledge of every little thing.
Little thing.
Okay, well, thank you for listening. This has been Revelation with the EuroBros. Thank you. Signing out.